Resistance Coalition, what's going on, guys? Happy Friday. Hope everyone's doing well. If you guys, this is your first time catching these videos, my name is Jacob. I'm the founder of the Resistance Coalition. And again, it's Friday, so these are the days I like to put out some quick announcements, some notes, give you guys a foreshadow of what we got going on for the month, and then just kind of push you guys, motivate you guys into the weekend. So without any further ado, let's get this thing going. For announcements, guys, Obstacle Warriors is going to be our next event. It's August 26th. So far, I've only got 2 guys signed up. Please utilize the link that's going to be actually it'll be above this video if you're on Facebook, below this video if you're on the website. Use the link, get to the TRC registrations page, and sign up, guys. I need you to do that. It helps tremendously when I'm trying to book out these events, and I've only got 2 guys. August 26th, the last Saturday in August, is going to be the day. It's going to be $15. That's the cost. It's going to be a great time. If you haven't checked out the video from last Friday, go check it out. I kind of I got a video posted in the link below showing what the Obstacle Warriors course is kind of going to be like. So go check that out. But the point of this announcement is to get you guys to go register on the TRC, the Resistance Coalition website. Next, the Action Pistol Competition is happening tomorrow, guys. It'll be from 09:15 to 1 o'clock. It's going to be at the Dallas Pistol Club. They are located at 1830 West Beltline Road in Carrollton, Texas. The cost is going to be $20. I've got the group code listed also above in this post. And there's a link, a URL link to go sign up and register. Use that group code when you sign up and register. It's gonna group us together, and we can go from match to match to match together. I think I've got 2 or 3 guys who've already signed up. They're grouped and squatted up with me. It's gonna be a good day, guys. It's a much better than just going to a static range like Frisco Gun Club and shooting at some steel targets. You don't have to be super competitive. This can honestly be your first time shooting. I guarantee you will have a blast, and you will be around more proficient shooters. Iron sharpens iron. That's what we want as guys. So go ahead and get signed up. Last for announcements, I will not be at volleyball tonight. I'll be out there to kick it up. I've got a good friend of mine who's having an EP release tonight, so that's where I will be instead. But there will be people out there playing volleyball. It's going to be located at the beach at Craig's Ranch. 6145 Alma Road in McKinney, Texas is the location. We usually start off at 7:30 p.m. and the cost is $3. So cost is not a factor at all for you guys. Anybody can come up with $3. So if you want, come on out and get out and get some physical resistance in while you on your Friday. So what I really wanted to talk about today and touch on was Monday's motivational post, and I'm just curious. I wonder how many guys actually went and checked that post out. On Monday, I like to give practical things that you could do to work on each 3 of the Resistance Coalition concepts, which is physical fitness, mental development, and spiritual growth. And I put in a little Spartan workout that I pulled from the Spartan Race workout website. It's a workout of the day. I've done that workout. It is stellar. Those burpees kill you. So I'm just curious how many of you guys actually got after it. And then 2, the actual mental portion is being financially independent, guys. As men, as leaders of the household, that is a crucial key that we need to master now. I'm married. I've been married since 2016. And I honestly wish I had put some of these applications to the test and practiced and became proficient in these things prior to me getting married. Man, the financial burdens that we have could have easily been relieved had I took the time to seek out that information and then try to apply it. You guys don't have to seek it. I'm giving it to you. Just look at it, read it, understand it, then try to apply it to your life. Practice now, guys. Practice now. That's my little wisdom to you. And then lastly, the spiritual growth portion, guys. I posted a video, I want to believe 2 days ago. Oh my gosh, and what a convicting video it was. Because honestly, if I'm being 100% transparent with you guys, my spiritual growth area, my flame had been kind of flickering. And man, that video convicted the heck out of me, which I pray it did the same for you. And so we're going to take this next moment to dissect the spiritual growth verse that I gave on Monday, which is Ephesians 4:14 through 16. Guys, if you open your Bibles, go to the New Testament, you'll pass Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, Romans, 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, Galatians, and then you'll land in the book of Ephesians. I'll go ahead and read this verse out to you guys real quick. Ephesians 4:14 through 16. Then we will no longer be immature like children. We won't be tossed and blown about by every wind of new teaching. We will not be influenced when people try to trick us with lies so clever they sound like the truth. Instead, we will speak the truth in love, growing in every way more and more like Christ, who is the head of his body, the church. He makes the whole body fit together perfectly. As each part does its own special work, it helps the other parts grow so that the whole body is healthy and growing and full of love. So this is the Ephesians, the whole chapter, the whole book is written by Paul, the Apostle Paul, to the church of Ephesus. And in this chapter 4, he's specifically talking about unity of the body. And as men, how do we apply this to our lives? This particular portion, the verses 4:14 through 16. How do we apply that to our lives? And I mean, this group is about becoming better men. So, what does that even look like? And I can honestly say that if you're following the example of maybe your father, if you're following the example of celebrities, and God forbid, if you're following my example, all three of those things are fallible. I'm not saying that one or the other or any of those are bad, but they are fallible. They are filled with faults. Guys, we are imperfect people. We are all sinners. So you want to follow something that's whole and complete. And I'm a sinner. I'm probably the worst of them all. The worst of them all. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to follow the perfect example of Christ. So instead of, if you're one of the guys who are following me, because I can only speak on my behalf, if you're one of the guys trying to follow me, don't follow me. Don't follow me. Open this book and follow Jesus. His examples are very clear. So let's go ahead and dissect this passage and see what God says about being a man. And this is my interpretation of this particular verse and how it applies to manhood. Because this is what this group is about. It's a coalition of men trying to do something today to become a better version of them tomorrow. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get in this thing. What is his recommendations for being a man in this passage? So we'll go ahead and read the first one. Sorry guys, I lost my place here in the Bible here. So we'll just start off reading the first line. He says, "Then we will no longer be immature like children." What is he trying to say here? He's trying to tell you, he's trying to tell me that it's time to grow up and stop being a boy and become a man. Then we will no longer be immature like children. See, we can do that in a lot of different ways, guys. Being a man is not defined by your age or your gender. You can be 45 and still be immature like a child. You can be 60 years old and still hang around with the boys. Guys, there's a transition period. There's like a rite of passage. There are things that you have to do and things that have to be done in your heart in order for you to step out of boyhood and into manhood. So he's saying here, then we will no longer be immature like children. That's time for that. That's a clear indication. Hey guys, our focus needs to be. We need to honestly do a self-diagnose and see where the places that. Oh man, I'm kind of still doing the same thing I was in high school. Or man, maybe I'm doing the same thing I was doing in college. I mean, I could tell you 2 years ago, and I can tell you right now, there's still some things that I look at and I'm like, gotta tighten that up. gotta tighten that up because that is something that I did while I was in college. I'm no longer in college. I've been out of college 5 or 6 years now, so I cannot still be doing the same things. It's time for me to leave boyhood and become a man. It's time for you to leave boyhood and become a man. So let's get to the rest of this verse because there's some very applicable things. The next one he says, "We won't be tossed around and blown about by every wind of new teaching. We will not be influenced when people try to trick us with lies so clever they sound like truth." What is he trying to say? He's trying to say stay strong in your faith. This is not necessarily a faith-based group, but my faith is very much a part of who I am and has what made me the man I am today. So that I thoroughly believe that without faith, I wouldn't be sitting in front of this video talking to you right now. I would absolutely would not be doing it because I would still be in boyhood. I would still be immature doing childish things. So guys, if you don't have a faith yet, I want to encourage you, please find it. Find it. I don't mean to be a bully here, but I'm telling you, when you start mimicking and imitating the acts and love of Jesus, and you will real quickly understand what it's like to be a man, because it's not easy. Jesus was no pushover. People say he's a soft Jesus. Oh man, you don't know my Jesus. You don't know him. So stand strong in your faith. How do you do that? In order to be strong in your faith, guys, you have to know what your faith is about. Well, Jacob, how do you know what your faith is about? For me, I didn't grow up in a Christian household, or a faith-based household. So we didn't go to church when I was a kid. That wasn't just something we got into. My first time, honestly, going to a church, I was a senior in high school. Other than a baptism when I was 8 or 9 years old, but I was a senior in high school. I claimed to be a Christian. I wore the cross. Anytime anybody would ask me, "Hey, are you a Christian?" "Oh yeah, of course I am. Of course I am." But I couldn't tell you at that moment. I couldn't tell you what my faith was about. I couldn't tell you anything about the Jesus that went and died on the cross for me. I mean, I understood that, but I couldn't tell you who he was personally. I couldn't tell you his commands. I couldn't tell you what he wanted from me in my life. I couldn't tell you what he wanted from the men of Christ. Like, I couldn't tell you any of those things. And for me, what did my faith stand for? It took me to open this book. Yeah, you have to read. Open this book and understand. Guys, in this book there's so much wisdom. I could try to give you 8,000 books and they would never amount to the amount of wisdom that is in this one. So in order for you to understand what your faith, if you're a Christian, if you haven't read the Bible, guys, I'm telling you, you're missing a big portion of it. You're missing a huge portion. You're missing out on what and who the character of God is. So dive into this word, into this living word. This is not just a book that was written so long ago, and there's no pieces of it that are applicable today in 2017. Guys, every bit of this is applicable in 2017. And in order for you to say, "Hey man, I'm a Christian," I challenge you. Stop. To be a Christian is to be Christ-like. Now, who can be like Christ if they never understood or never know or never want to know what he's actually done? How did he live his life? You got to be in the Word to understand that. You have to. You have to. So to stand strong in your faith, you need to even know what your faith is about and who it's in. Next, instead, we will speak truth in love, growing in every way more and more like Christ, who is the head of his body, the church. What does that mean for us? As men, we need to speak the truth. Not just and I'm so guilty of this. I mean, when my transition over to walking in my faith, I was so guilty of this. I mean, I would sit and have conversations about women, about sex, about going out and drinking, and none of those things were the truth. None of those things are the truth, but I was having a conversation about it. I mean, I would sit around and I had buddies say, "Man, I slept with this one chick last night." And I'm like, "What? For real? What she look like?" That's not truth, guys. Those are lies. Those are lies. You get the real truth from this word. So you need, as men, in order for us to speak truth, we have to know what truth is. And secondly, we need to imitate Jesus. And again, in order to imitate Jesus, you have to actually know what he's done and what he did, how he lived his life. Because I guarantee you, I would love to be the one that said, hey, when I decided to follow Christ, it was the easiest thing in the world. Everything became better. Oh, it wasn't. It was actually one of the hardest things I've ever done. It's still one of the hardest things I've ever done. There's been such a transformation on my heart, though. I can't even begin to explain it. So it's worth the struggle. It's worth the trials. And just last week, or in the last, honestly, for the last few months, my flame has been flickering. My spiritual growth flame has been flickering. And I've been walking around timidly, very timidly, not walking in any kind of boldness. And when I watched that video that I posted on a post last week, on our group last week, it convicted me. It convicted me, guys. It brought me to tears right there in the middle of my job. I had to walk out, go find a conference room, and just pray, because it was so convicting, so convicting. So you won't always be perfect at this thing, but guys, it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. And then lastly, he makes the whole body fit together perfectly, as each part does its own special work. It helps the other parts grow so that the whole body is healthy and growing and full of love. Guys, what I get from this is every man has his place and plays a role in the kingdom. Whether you are type A or type Z, whether you're competitive or social, everyone has a place. And for me, that was a hard thing to do, because I'm a type A guy. I like hanging around type A guys. I don't understand the type Z mentality. But one of the things that understanding the life of Jesus and seeing his acts is taught me, be humble. Be humble. Every man has a place in the kingdom. And honestly, he says those who want to be first need to be last. That doesn't fit a type A personality. So what do? Do I continue with my type A personality, or do I try to actually live my faith and try to be like Christ? So for my type A guys out there, every one of those guys that are anything but type A, they've got a place in the kingdom just as much as you do, just as much as I do. And all those guys who are type B, who look at those type A's and think, man, these guys are super proud, or maybe they're a little bit mean, and that may be just a matter of perspective, but they've got a place. We have a place in the kingdom. Because if we were type B and I was timid, how could I ever portray the word like I am right now? So we all have a place in this kingdom, guys. Man, I pray that you guys explore this verse, and I pray that it's not just this one verse that you decide to flip over and read the chapter. Ephesians is a great book with many, many applicable things for manhood. Guys, I'm being dead serious with you. I had a complete heart change. My life changed when I made the decision to read the Bible. To take my faith from just being something that I said I was to something that I'm doing. Those two things are very different. So, guys, I'm going to wrap this thing up. I've got some things I got to go take care of today. But I hope to see some of you guys tomorrow at the match. Guys, go sign up if you haven't already. And then lastly, choose not the path of least resistance. Instead, embrace discomfort in your life. Guys, strive for failure and engage the resistance in your life, becoming today the man you want to be tomorrow. I'm out. You guys have an awesome weekend. I'll catch you guys on Monday for Monday Motivation.